Meant to pick up my streaming software. I don't know why I hit start streaming like a couple minutes ago. So anyway, we are live now. Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up, everybody? Good morning. JTW here with another Xtrades FOMO live stream for Tuesday, December 17th. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you're excited and ready for the Santa rally that we may see here as we head into the Christmas holiday next week. Market is showing some signs of consolidation. Some names are starting to look a little bit toppy, so maybe the Santa rally came early this year, which is always a possibility. It's very good. Hey, what's up, Alex? Good morning to you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. So anyway, we'll talk about all of that. We've got some trade plans to recap. We've got some new plans that we'll work on this morning together based on your requests. So with that, let's dig in. Let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing here on ES, S&P futures, kind of our, our benchmark or our, kind of general overall sentiment guide for, should we be looking for things to continue up? Should we be worried about consolidation? Should we be looking for a potential pullback, putting hedges in place, taking profits, all that sort of stuff? So that's what we like to use ES for, to kind of just get a general idea of what the market's doing and where it's going. And right now it's looking kind of sideways, right? We've talked about this range previously. We've seen a couple of flashes below it, but we talked about this 61.20 up to this 61.83 range and potentially seeing some consolidation in there. We have seen that. We've seen a couple of, like I said, sweeps below here on the hourly chart. This was kind of a more obvious sweep. This one's more of a pipe pattern reversal sweep back to the upside. Overall still holding this ascending trend line, but things are continuing to grind to the upside. We've already seen, and now we're also seeing, just as an FYI, I noticed that my trend lines got shifted off a little bit, so I need to double check these because I think the contracts, just rolled over as of today. So I need to go back. I was like, wait a second, that doesn't look right, that lower trend line. So I'll get that fixed and figured out. But we are seeing some signs of things slipping to the downside here. We've seen it once already here on the hourly. I want to check another time frame real quick, actually, just to see kind of how it compares to what we're seeing on the hourly. So we're seeing some signs of slippage on the hourly chart. 4-hour chart's still, for the most part, pretty bullish, and also gives us a little bit more room down before we hit that kind of key buying pressure confluence with our 6102 level and that NTS kind of ultimate key buying pressure point right there. But again, all of this is buy pressure. We're in that range. So 4 hours still looking pretty good. Hourly looking a little bit iffy, especially losing that 333 SMA, and it looks like we're rejecting a little bit, but we've seen signs of that already once and it didn't quite follow through. So we might be seeing that again, and that 4-hour trend might be what's ultimately keeping us moving to the upside. A great what would you call it? Mantra is probably not the right word. Slogan is maybe a better word. But one of the things that you'll hear a lot of people say is, when in doubt, zoom out. If you're not really sure what's going on, if things kind of look like it could be bullish, could be bearish, and you're trying to get your bearings on that, that's when you're in doubt, and that's what I would say, zoom out. And so for me, I like to go up to the 4-hour, depending on what's going on with the hourly chart. And here we see again that 4-hour overall holding up pretty well. These fib extensions playing out pretty nicely. Although again, this probably needs to shift back. I think this was ultimately drawn back here would be my guess, but I'll get all that figured out. I don't love how TradingView kind of shifts the charts around a little bit when you have these contracts roll over, but it is what it is. It's still a great platform. You just got to take the bad with the good sometimes. What's up, YB Skater? Good to see you. Good morning. What's up, Christopher? Good morning to you. All right, so that's kind of ES in general. Again, I'd say overall we look bullish, but we could continue to consolidate. I would say if we get a test down there of 6102, that would be a good opportunity to try to buy the dip. Watch that 200 SMA on the 4-hour chart is kind of your next indicator-based means of support, and that's going to be up near, I would imagine, where our next support level is anyway. They're at 60.72. So we could wind up with a confluence there with that 200 SMA. 60.72 is kind of like a good stop loss average down backstop if you do look for a buy the dip opportunity off that 6102 confluence. So anyway, that's what we're seeing on the markets in general. Let's get to our trade plans from over the weekend. We had Spotify, Hims, and Mongo. So Spotify gave us what was starting to look like a good breakout yesterday. I haven't personally touched this one yet, and we'll go back to the when in doubt, zoom out. I'm just curious if there was anything potentially overhead. That it is still in some selling pressure there on the hourly, but that's kind of the only. I'm liking this confluence right here. So the stop loss average down level getting reinforced now by the 200 SMA. 4 hours still pretty bullish and really nice bounce pickup off that 464 with that Neptune confluence right there, kind of like what we were just talking about with ES. So anyway, I'm trying to, again, I haven't touched this one personally, and again, what I didn't love about this is just didn't see any good follow through either on this candle close above, and then these candles kind of continued to sell off and never really showed a good sign of a bounce kind of in this range that I would expect to see. So then things started to look weaker and weaker as we got near that call entry. Overall, if you got pulled into the trade, it's still a valid trade plan. We do have a couple of confluences here at 481.50. We saw that, or we see that here on the 5-minute with the 333, and then I think it was the 200, yeah, here on the hourly. So we've got two different SMAs, two different time frames, both SMA support, I should say, actually, and on two different SMAs, because the 5 minutes, the 333. So we're seeing that kind of support start to build up, a nice confluence across multiple time frames there at 481.37. So if you're already in this on that breakout, this could be a good chance to average down. If you're not currently in this at all, it could certainly be a good opportunity to look to maybe buy the dip off this 481.37 level. I would certainly use the put entry 473.90 as my stop. And then I'd be looking for probably a retest of this high somewhere up in this area from yesterday as a first price target, so you could adjust that price target up a little bit. But overall, for me personally, spot has just been a, haven't touched it trade. Hims, this one's playing out nicely. I did actually later in the day, once we broke over this 333, took a leap position on him so I could do kind of doing like a poor man's covered call on this one. Not that I really have to, but it's just it's a strategy that I want to start maybe talking about more in the Xtrades Discord community. It's something that I use, or used to use a lot back in the day. I'm not using quite as much anymore because I'm generally just buying the shares, but I kind of thought to myself, like, this would be a really good way to maybe show some folks some advanced option strategies. So, to give you an example of what I'm talking about, let me just refresh my memory on which contracts I went with. I know I did so I picked up January 2026 $16 call. So I bought them, pretty decently in the money when I picked those up. Him's trading in the 30 range. No, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. $20 calls for 16 January 26, my bad. So again, bought them pretty decently though in the money. And then I went ahead as we got some appreciation on this move going into the end of the day, right about in here. I said, okay, let me go ahead and kind of adjust this a little bit, or give myself some good coverage, and also put myself in a position where even at PT3, I've kind of hit all of my targets. So I went ahead and sold January 17, 2025, $34 calls, right? So I spent about $1,600 on the leap position for each contract, and I recouped $250 for each short contract I sold for a few weeks out. So essentially for pretty much a month exactly from today. So yes, new trader, this is something that I plan to alert. I got to figure out that's what I'm trying to look at right now, is kind of like, how would this work the way that Xtrades likes to track our statistics. And so I think it's going to actually work out really well. So yes, it is something I plan on starting to alert. I've done a few recently. I've got one going with Hims right now. What's the other one? The Archer aviation. I've got a kind of a, so this would be what's called a diagonal debit spread, where you've got a longer dated, closer to or in the money call contract that you are long on, and then you short. So that kind of creates your synthetic share position, quote unquote. And then you can short shorter expiration, further out of the money calls to collect premium while your other contracts are gaining. The big risk there, or where it kind of becomes a little bit different than just a standard options trade, is there is a potential for you to essentially cap your short-term gains and wind up getting pulled out of the trade entirely. For example, if your short contracts go in the money, I mean, you're still going to make money, you just won't make as much money. However, you could also kind of hit the sweet spot where, lots of patience. This is all background stuff for me, right? Which is also why I've kind of like hesitated on alerting it, because I know that most of what we're trying to do in Xtrades is a little bit more active, proactive trading. But at the same time, this is a great money-making strategy that just kind of happens in the background, very similar to what we do with these wheel trades and stuff like that. And me personally, I don't know about you guys, but I love passive income. I love mailbox money, stuff that just shows up in your account because you're collecting premiums and you're not really having to babysit them. That gives you even more horsepower to go do your more proactive, active, day trading, short-term swings and that sort of stuff. So, it's kind of my approach in a diversified trading strategy. We talk about diversifying our portfolios. I like to diversify my trading strategies and really kind of use them and leverage them to each other's benefit, I guess is what I'm ultimately trying to say. So anyway, going back to the HIMS trade plan, this is moving nicely. We're tapping PT2 here, pre-market seeing some resistance there, but overall building up nice bullishness. PT1 looks like it's going to flip to support, and that should continue the move up to our 33.31 ultimate third price target. But make sure that you're taking profits, especially when you see something like this. If we hit a price target pre-market and we start to pull back into the open, go ahead and take some profits right at open, because this pullback could continue. That's why we have these as price targets for the call side, because these are points where the price could reject and see a bigger pullback. So that's where we want to make sure that we're trying to lock in our profits at the opportune times. Sometimes that these targets hit, though, when we can't really do anything with our options contracts, because options trading doesn't start for another 45 minutes. But we have to be prepared to just stick to the plan. Don't be greedy. Still take those profits. Move your stops up on the remaining contracts, and let things play out from there. Is kind of my general gist on that. I want to start doing maybe some like weekend sessions or something. I've been saying that forever, and I have to. Time is the one resource that I feel like I never have enough of. Everything else I'm doing pretty good. I just need to find a way to create more time. But yes, I'm trying to provide as much. I like that idea 100%. So we could certainly talk about wheel trades and diagonal debit spreads. They're kind of cut from the same cloth, if you will. What's up, HBOC? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. All right, so let's continue on with our trade plans. MDB, this is another one that kind of looked like it was going to give us a breakout. The thing that I didn't love about this one, when I started to get alerts off my 273.53 level, was we still had this 200 SMA sitting right overhead there on the 5 minute. So I was waiting for that to clear out, kind of like what I talked about with HIMS here. On the 15 minute, I was looking at this 333 that we were kind of struggling with. So once we got above that and started to flip it as to support, that's when I said, okay, that's where my opportunity is. And we weren't too far removed from the call entry either at that point. So kind of willing to adjust the plan a little bit on the fly, because that's just what I'm used to doing. So MDB kind of was looking for the same thing. It just didn't happen yesterday. So this one's, I would say, still a no trade. Waiting for it to really get a confirmed break above or below our call or put entries. Yeah, man, of course. I love doing these sessions with you guys. It's a blast for me. I get to kind of get my thoughts out of my head, which is helpful. I think the more I speak them out into the world, the better things go. But let's get to our last trade plan from the weekend, which was Tesla. Tesla was no, we did. Oh, did I skip? No, I didn't. Okay, sorry. We got through all of this was our last Thursday live stream plan. My apologies. I kind of got myself twisted around, shifting gears here. So these are our live stream plans that we did last Thursday. We did Amazon, Tesla, and Lunar. We're going to do a quick recap of those, and then we're going to get to some new trade plans. So yeah, for sure, Chris, we can definitely try to put something like that together. In fact, I'll plan that out. I'll announce it. That way folks know like specifically what we're going to get into that day. And there's not a high expectation for a lot of trade planning or anything like that. Because I think if we're going to do it, we're probably going to wind up spending most of the live stream talking about that sort of stuff. So, but definitely something I'm open to doing for sure. But let's continue on with our current agenda, and then let's also get some CVS Perfect New Trader. Thank you for getting that in the mix. If you guys have any other trade plan requests, please go ahead and drop those in the chats. I'm going to wrap up our trade plan reviews here shortly, and then we'll dig into putting some new plans together live so we're ready to go. All right, so with Tesla, again, we did this plan on Thursday. Morning's live stream pre-market came up, rejected our call entry on Thursday, kind of stayed within the no trade range until it broke out on Friday, broke out and back tested and bounced heading into the close there. So that was a great entry opportunity on that back testing. You see that support start to show up. You see these candles start to flip green instead of saying they would be red candles on most charts, but they're turning into buy candles versus sell candles. That's probably a more generic way of saying it. And ultimately, that gave us yesterday our third price target. These were, I believe, fib extensions, right? So we were projecting these levels because this is technically new all-time highs for Tesla. Yeah, these are the fib extensions that we did on last Thursday's live stream. And here we see that, projected resistance kind of being the top of a quick bear flag that played out, and ultimately that bear flag broke out to the upside and it made a new high after that. But I mean, overall, we caught over a quick weekend swing into yesterday, a move from 428.43 all the way up to 460.60. I mean, that's a huge move in that amount of time. That's a multiple bagger right there. So I hope you guys again are sticking to and following these plans, and especially looking for these back test opportunities. Really, when it lines up like this, 15-minute, you've got the bullish trend ribbon on Neptune right there, bullish flag, everything saying this should start to find support when supports get tested. Everything was lined up for it. Long signal back here, boom to the upside, moonshot. Great trade there on Tesla. Amazon, this one just gave us the breakout yesterday. Looks to be consolidating and holding above our call entry, but still very close to it here at 231.16. So this one, I would say, especially if we do get a quick little back test of 231.16 near the open, could be a good one to go ahead and take an entry on, as long as we're holding above that 231.16 level. We aren't too far removed from that PT1 just yet. I also like how these SMAs are setting up below and giving some added confluence of support there at 228.53. So a nice backstop for the trade plan for us to either A, average down and it works out, or B, we stop out and those average down contracts don't really impact or compound the loss that much. So liking this Amazon trade plan setup as we head into the open this morning. Keep an eye on it. You've got the levels. In fact, I'll go ahead and repost this one for the YouTube folks. The Xtrades, it is in the options watch list from last Thursday. Just search in options watch list from JTW and you'll be able to find it, or it's in the Xtrades app as well. All right, so last but not least, let's get to Lunar. Lunar was our buy the dip plan. Remember this one, folks. Chris G. I don't see Chris G in the mix at the moment, so he is missed currently. Hope he's doing well wherever he's at, whatever he's doing. But Chris brought up Lunar again. We've caught this one so many times. I think we started off getting it back in like the 9s or something like that, and it's had multiple runs to the. It actually might have even been lower than that. 9s might have been our like upside price target or something. I mean, we've been on this one for a minute. Chris keeps bringing it up, I think, at the perfect times. Again, I continue to call him my muse, my inspiration for some of these smaller price ticker trade plans. He just seems to find them, and when he finds them and I plan them, we tend to find a lot of success. We can see here on this 4-hour chart, tons of support being built up on Neptune right there. We're now flipping things fully bullish off the bounce of that support. But again, we said, last Thursday, as long as it's holding above 1130, let's go ahead and buy the dip. Let's pick up some shares, and let's have a stop loss average down at 1032 with these upside price targets. I was going to wait till we started hitting some price targets, but I think pretty like almost immediately after I entered that morning, we saw like a 5% spike on Lunar, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, right in here. So we did this last Thursday, right? Said as long as we're over 1130, pick up some shares near the open. So I picked up those shares near the open, and it very quickly spiked up. And I looked at what the premiums were on. I want to say it was like $14 calls or something like that for like same week expiration, or maybe it was this week. I don't know, it was something very short expiration, and the premiums were like juiced immediately. So I went ahead and closed those out. We got that price to rebound some more yesterday, so we went ahead and sold some more. But these ones we pushed out to January. We also, sorry, let me grab a sip of this water. My voice is getting a little dry. So we went ahead and booked that first set of premiums on that first set of sold covered calls, and we went ahead and sold some more $16 calls. So if you think about this again, our PT3 is up here at 1559, so 16 should be safe. We also collected some premium on that, so really our overall profit on that trade, if we did get stopped out at 16, would give us a kind of a net sell price of 16.65 because we collected $65 in premium when we sold those $16 calls. I think we should be in good shape. That also gives us plenty of room for those shares to have a nice return on investment, even if they do get called away at 16. So this one we fired up the wheel on. We talked about taking that approach last Thursday. Here we are putting it into place. And here we see our first price target rejecting. So again, we could see a little bit of a pullback. Could see some consolidation before Lunar tries to push higher, so we could use that opportunity to scalp some of those premiums and then look to sell some more at the next peak. So that's going to kind of be the general approach to Lunar as we move forward. Those are all of our trade plan recaps. I know that's a lot to go through, but I think we've got a lot of good stuff cooking right now. All right, so let's get to some of these new ticker requests. We had this new trader wants to take a look at CVS. CVS is not, I don't know if I've ever really, I mean, clearly have done levels on it at some point. Quite a while ago would be my guess. I'm not sure what I even have on here is going to be all that useful. So you know what? It's only 25 drawings anyway. Not like I did that much work. Let's go ahead and start from scratch here. I'm going to hide my indicators. I'm going to zoom out. We always start zoomed out and zoom in as we work our way through finding our key support resistance levels that we're going to want to watch as we try to plan out this CVS trade plan. All right. Clearly have a weekly level hanging out right there. Probably going to be a put entry, I would think, but let's not get ahead of ourselves after putting one line on the chart. There is something in here. The question is, where exactly do I want to set this level? Yeah, right about there. I would imagine, again, might be getting ahead of myself, but I would imagine that that's going to probably wind up being our stop loss for that downside trade plan, but we'll see. We shall see. There. Good thing about CVS is it's been around for like forever. So lots of price history to use to our advantage as we prepare a plan for CVS. Yeah, looks pretty good. Be surprised if we're looking at downside targets any lower than that. So let's not get too far into the weeds on those downside targets. Hasn't really set a lot of at least higher time frame levels on this move to the upside, or at least not on the weekly. Not that I can really, not that meet the criteria, I should say, that I like to see. This is probably going to be a daily level. Just marking it for now. There could, I don't know. I feel like I'm forcing it. Could be something here though. All right, let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit, or move down to some smaller time frames. Let's see what we've got in here. Let's see if I'm right about this being a daily level. I wasn't exactly on the spot, but it's there. Right about there. I knew we'd be somewhere close to that. This one I also like. It just needs to move down a little bit. Interesting. Very close. I think that's close enough. Call that a good flip. Current price is there. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I don't get too far removed. I think this is going to ultimately be our third PT for puts. I'm going to go ahead and mark that so I don't start fishing any lower than that. Could use this though to figure out where we've got some levels above. So now we're looking at like 2008. As far as at what point in history are we looking at? And I promise you we will find some levels that go this far back that are probably going to be instrumental to our upcoming trade plan. So it's something that I get a lot of questions on, as far as like how far back do you go when you're doing your support resistance levels. For me, it's not so much about how far back do I go, it's how far vertically, like how far up and down the price axis do I need to go to kind of capture any levels I think we're going to see anytime in the foreseeable future. And then as long as there's price data in that range, I'll go back as far as there are candles there, right? So what's up, Unknown? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. All right, so let's get back to kind of this area. This is what I wanted to see to finish up some of these supports and resistances, SR levels. Gotta find an easier way to say that. Is there something that developed right here that we've tested since then, is my question. This level or close by. Be surprised if there wasn't something. Really like to see it get a clean rejection test somewhere. It has seen a lot of support touches though. I saw a couple of rejections. They just didn't follow through all that much. All right, I think we're looking pretty good on our higher time frame levels. So let's start getting into some of these hourly time frames. Let's flip these indicators back on. That's gonna, yeah, it does seem like it's been a while, man. I hope you took a little vacation and recharged the batteries and all that stuff. We can certainly try to squeeze BMO into the mix. Excuse me. All right, what do we want to do with CVS? Sorry, I'm kind of over analyzing maybe a little bit here, but I haven't seen anything that's changed my mind about this weekly level most likely being our put entry. See, I don't know if the hourly will let us go back that far. Maybe. It's going to be close. Maybe, maybe not. Come on. Nope. Damn it. All right. Well, let's go with the 4 hour then. There we go. So, again, I was contemplating, actually, I was contemplating, I think this is a potential put entry. That as our stop loss for that put trade plan. I think I'm going to adjust that, though. I think there is an opportunity coming up. Might have this weekly level just a little bit high, so I'm going to nudge that down to there. I think below that does give us pretty decent room down to this 44, 47 level. The next question is, where's the stop loss going to be? It's going to be right here. Yep. Oops. Nope. There we go. All right, so I like that for a stop loss to the downside. I like this as our PT2 for the downside. Just make sure you're buying plenty of time on these contracts. So then PT3. Could go down to 41.57, but let's not be greedy. We'll take the rest off at 42.50. IQ. Okay, try to take a look at IQ. All right, so that's our downside plan and targets. This upside plan is going to be trick A to figure out with some of the ass kicking that I've seen on this stock price. What's it? Do they have some, like, are they getting ready to go bankrupt or something? Features. Huh. Yeah, they're not in good shape right now. Yeah, it just looks so bearish. And I feel like, isn't Walgreens really, I guess I don't follow pharmacy stocks all that much, but isn't Walgreens like really struggling too? I would figure if Walgreens is struggling, then one of these names has got to be kicking ass. It's either CVS or Rite Aid, right? I don't know if we're going to get any help on these levels. Is Rite Aid what's taking everybody's money? Taking all the other guys' money? Good for them. I feel like, at least in my area, CVS and Walgreens are, I don't see Rite Aids anymore. If anything, all the Rite Aids around me have shuttered. But apparently that doesn't mean jack for the big picture. No, we'll figure it out. It's just the upside trade plan's going to be a little tricky, but we'll figure it out. I mean, there is a big fair value gap to the upside to recoup. It's just a matter of when do we want to get in, and a lot of this price history is just way far back. That's kind of what's been tricky with it. But that's all right. Old JTW will figure it out. Just might need a little extra time. All right, I'm liking this as a let's get started on it. Like this is a stop loss, so keep it tight. Like this is a first price target. Yeah, I think what made it a little slower, and I heard there's a new setting that you can adjust. Excuse me, my throat keeps drying out this morning. I think there's a TradingView just put out a new setting or option or preference thing that you can adjust, where if you change time frames, instead of it constantly taking you all the way back to the current price action, it will maintain your place in time, essentially. I think it's called considers the left edge of the screen the static point, and it will stay there regardless of what time frames you go through. Yeah, this could be a good one for that. Absolutely, that's a good idea. buy some way far out leaps, like in the $40 range, maybe even a little bit deeper. Let it try to get a test of maybe at least that 48, 49 call entry, and then start selling some short contracts out of the money. I don't hate that idea. I don't know what the IV's like on it, but I would imagine with as much as it's been pulling back and as quickly as it's been pulling back, premiums are probably, I would be willing to, whoops, what am I doing? I'd be willing to bet are probably pretty elevated right now. Feel free to double check me on the options chain, see what the IV's like, but I would guess IV right now on CVS, even though it's typically a more stable static name, oh, I don't know, let's go, IV's probably over 60%. No, let me back that down. Let's say over 55%. Somebody check me, see if I'm wrong. All right, let's talk about this CVS live stream plans. Drop this in the watch list as well, real quick, so everybody can benefit from the work we've done this morning. All right, let's talk about this plan real quick, and then I think we got time for one more plan before I've got to break away and do the daily SPY plan for our Discord community. So what are we looking for here on CVS? We are testing, we're going to tempt this breakdown below 45.90 to play for the downside, where we should see targets at 44, 47, 43, 37, and 42.50 as potential bounce points, with 46.65 as our stop loss average down if we get sucked into a bad entry. To the upside, we're looking for a break above IV 56%. What did I tell you? I said over 55. I backed it down from 60% too. Notice how I changed that. I was like, wait a second, I'm getting a little too high on my own horse there. It's probably closer to 55. I've been doing this for too long. All right, so to the upside, we're looking for a break over 48.49. That should give us targets at 50.18, 51.80, and 52.89, with a stop loss average down at 47.67. Those are your CVS trade plans. And clearly, I have not paid much attention to this. I have not been checking the options chain. I did not cheat on that IV guess. What would be the fun of that? And if I cheated, I just got incredibly close. I was lucky. All right, so let's keep going. We had CVS and then SPY, YB Skater. I'm going to do the SPY plan. I'll post that in the watch list. If you want to pick my brain on that, you're in my DMs. Shoot me a DM. We'll chat through it. Let's see. NVIDIA, unknown reviews, BMO, and NVIDIA. Let's take, what is BMO? Oh. Man. So my concern, as soon as I look at the chart with BMO, very low volume, kind of scattered all over the place. They just had earnings though, so a little bit outside, going with the opposite approach. PayX, okay. Let's take a look at PayX. Paychecks. Oh, that one's probably got some volume on it, right? Yeah, pretty decent. Earnings coming up 2 days. So unknown reviews all over that pre and post earnings play. All right, let's take a look at this, and then I'll try to give some quick input. Siva Kumar on NVIDIA. As an NVIDIA shareholder, I'm kind of looking at it and scratch my head saying, why is this struggling so much? But again, I'm a shareholder. It's not one that I'm overly concerned about. Well in profit at this point, so I've got a lot of gains to give back before it becomes a problem. And ideally, I don't want to give back those gains though. So, all right, let's see, paychecks. Oops, I'm dropping weekly levels on the hourly chart. That's not going to work out well. In this one case, it kind of did work out well, actually. It's pretty close. Right about there. Is this all-time highs for paychecks? Yeah. Wow. They've been ripping. They are a big name in the how to pay your employees sector. I get calls from them on the regular. I don't personally use them, but that's neither here nor there. Not that's not a knock against them. It's just not who my. It's not really I let the HR director make that call. It's not something I have to touch that much. All right, those all look pretty solid. I don't know. Well, I don't know. With an earnings coming up, you never know. Could see some interesting stuff happen, but employment's up, and the more people that are employed, the more paychecks got to be processed, and paychecks, like the name indicates, does a lot with paychecks. So they could be seeing a boom in their business as long as employment stays elevated. There you go. Articulate, JT. Yeah, I got something there. So we are going to need to do some trend-based fib extensions on this because we are at all-time highs. We'll need to know where to shoot our shot and when to take profits. Is there? Yeah. Yeah, okay. I just want to see some more resistance there, or make sure that there was more resistance there. Same thing, that's a good level too. Okay, I think that all looks pretty good. 912. All right, let's fast forward. I'm going to go straight to the hourly. I think we've got some good higher time frame levels. Let me just real quick hide my indicators. And I'm doing some of this chart analysis. As much as I love my indicators, they can kind of make it hard to see what you want to see on the chart. Trying to find sort of a general. This isn't a trend line that we're going to trade, but let's see what this looks like on the regular trading hours chart too. Yeah, it's about what I was, about what I was expecting to see, and we have seen a pullback below it, so this should be a pretty good confirmed set of fib extensions. Make a small adjustment here to this daily level. I would have that a little higher. All right, so trend-based fib extensions are going to go from here to here, and I'd be surprised, yep, right about there, maybe a little bit higher. Yeah. Right about there. Yep, that looks pretty good. Okay, so paychecks. Let's see. Whoops. Hopefully paychecks will generate a nice payday for us. Thinking about taking a shot over this 144 level. Reminder that we do have an earnings report coming up. There is a prior gap level that we've tested again and rejected. So I like that as a first target. I think we clearly would be foolish to take some profits at current all-time highs. And all that we really have to shoot for after that is our next fib extension to the upside, 38.2. Let me color this correctly. So that would be the upside plan with a stop loss. Yeah, right about here at 141.83. I'll come back and confirm what time frame that is. Downside, I like a break below this weekly level. first target. It's going to kind of be a 1-to-1 trade plan to the downside starting off, but that's okay. As long as we meet that minimum criteria again, that makes it, for me, generally speaking, a start small and add to, average up on these types of setups as the move in your favor opens up more. If you have something more favorable, like what we're seeing to the upside, where it's probably closer to like a, I don't know, 1.3. Let's see if I'm as good at this as I am at guessing IV. 1.4. Well, I gotta move this up a little bit. No, I wasn't as close as I thought I'd be. I was leaning towards 1.5, but I didn't say it, so that doesn't matter. I was off a little bit. So, but yeah, 1.5 to 1 starting off. So that's more of a, okay, I'm willing to start with a full size. I've got better risk reward before I run into any real trouble. Versus this is going to be very close to 1 to 1. 1.25, so not terrible. Still maybe start a little smaller on that downside. Oh, and let's not forget, well, I like that confluence that we've got overhead. We'd be breaking through all that to take calls. Nothing really reinforcing at the moment. Let's take one more look. Yeah, I mean, there's some buying pressure there on the higher time frames, but it's starting to look a little bit bearish or possibly volatile consolidation for the time being. But that all flips and things do look better over our 144.01 entry, so I think we've got that in a good spot. Whoops, I need to copy the link, not the image. All right, let's go. So here is the Paychex live stream plan. Let me get this in the watch list as well, and then we'll talk through it real quick. All right, so what are we looking for here on Paychex? We're looking for a break over 144.01. That should give us targets at 147.46, 150.70, and 154.85, with a stop loss average down at 141.83. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 139.66. That should bring targets at 137.06, 134.80, and 131.94, with a stop loss average down shared with the upside trade plan there at 141.83. Those are your Paychex trade plans. Let's take a quick look at NVIDIA. Yeah, that 132.28 level was a pretty key level that I was wanting NVIDIA to hold. We're now seeing that flip to resistance, so not a great look. This is your next key level right here, 127.64. As long as this holds, I think NVIDIA is probably close to finding a near-term bottom. If for some reason that gives way, I think we open up room for the downside. I would certainly be putting hedges in place, proactively taking some puts, things like that. So that's your key level to watch. 129.03 would be a good recovery level. So, you know, kind of in this range right here, as long as we're holding it and pushing to the upside, I think things look okay. If we break down below it, I think we're in trouble. If we can reclaim, I mean, personally, I'd like to see 132.28 reclaimed. If we can reclaim that, I don't even need to look at the price axis to know what level that is, because we talked about it recently. If we can reclaim that, this guy right here, I think things look good for the upside. This is kind of when we're in trouble for the downside. This is kind of this little range that we could see some bounces at the top, at the bottom, and anywhere in between. Where's the rectangle? In this little range right here. So here's some levels in the chart. I know it's not a trade plan, but should give you some ideas of what to look for and be aware of. Feel free to shoot me a DM if you have questions, and if you're in the Xtrades Discord community. If you're not, come check us out. Free trials available. That's the best way to get in touch with me if we're not on one of these live streams. We are 10 minutes out from market open. I do need to go get the daily spy plan put together for the Xtrades Discord community. So with that, I want to thank everybody for joining me this morning, both in Discord and on YouTube. I really appreciate y'all taking the time to be here. We will be back Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. No live streams next week. The week of Christmas, I'm all over the place next week. and then we'll try to circle back and get at least one more in before. Wait, how does the calendar work out for that? So yeah, we'll actually come back for a Tuesday live stream. That'll be our last one, 2024, and then we'll start off 2025 with a live stream. So pretty cool way to finish out and start next year, finish out 2024 and start 2025. So again, no live streams next week, just a reminder, but we will be back Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. With that, thank you guys so much for joining me. I do appreciate it. As we always say here on the FOMO live stream, plan your trades, trade your plans, keep your wins big, keep your losses small, go out there, book those gains. Have a great day. I will see you guys in the chats, and I'll see you back here Thursday morning. Take care.